Hello, hi, Sanmanani. And today I'm going to be teaching you a little bit about isiZulu and siSwati, language conventions and culture for literary translations. This is a language lesson 101, basic things. I hope you enjoy it, have fun, and I hope you learn something. So firstly, we're going to start with understanding the origins of isiZulu and siSwati, which are often considered to be languages that are two sides of the same coin. We share the same linguistic qualities, and our cultures have actually been very intertwined. We consider each other cousins from dating back 7,000 years ago with the Bantu migration from the east and center of Africa down to the south, which is where we are now. So Bantu people in the context of South Africa are considered to be Batswana, Basotho, Bapedi, amaZulu, amaSwati, amaXhosa, amaNdebele, Vavenda, and Vatsonga. Nguni people are specifically amaZulu, amaSwati, amaXhosa, amaNdebele, and we have a similar language because we all come from the same language group. The closest within Nguni people who have the most similar of languages are Zulu and Swati people. All right, so one of the key things that I always get asked, or some fascination that people always have when they know that I am South African and Swati, is to know about the cliques. So it's commonly held knowledge that there are African languages that click. An assumption is that all of them do. We have over 2,500 languages in the African continent, and only 6 of them click, and I happen to speak both that do, isiZulu and siSwati. So on one side, I have the types of click sounds and then words with the click so you can hear what they would typically sound like. So I'm going to pronounce everything for you. So our types of click sounds, we have so the words with that would be Cela, Hlonipha, Dlala, Inhliziyo, Khama, Olo, Xaxa, Gcina, Gqitha. Those would be just sound qualities. Also, it's important to note before we move ahead to something about Swati and isiZulu that they're very intonation-based languages, and we play a lot with sounds. That's one of the key things about the language is what makes it so unique and so beautiful is like the sounds that we make and the ways in which we move up and down in our intonation. So differences between Swati and isiZulu. So I said earlier that they are two sides of the same coin. The only thing truly that changes between isiSwati and isiZulu is a matter of pronunciation. So we have the same proverbs, the same idioms, the same syntax, the same grammar, somewhat the same vocabulary. So sometimes we have different words for one and the same thing. But the key thing that changes is pronunciation. For example, and I have the English here so you can see what these words mean. In isiZulu, you'd say indoda, in siSwati, you'd say indvodza. You'd say umvelinqanti. Manje, that's the only time that a word changes. You would say nyalo in siSwati. Inhliziyo would be titiyo. Isithakazelo would be tinanatelo. So what changes is whatever is a D in Zulu in siSwati is a t sound. Whatever is would typically be a t. It is common for us to as well, but oftentimes our sound turns to a slightly softer click. And then whatever is a Z will always be a T. So that's just pretty much the fundamental difference between the two. Is it comes down to pronunciation and intonation. So the intonation of Swati tends to be a little bit slower and it flows in and it dips down. Zulu intonation tends to dip up. So rule of isiZulu and siSwati is our verb and noun conjugation. So in English, you consider verb, noun, direct object, adjective, all of those things are separate within a sentence. In isiZulu and siSwati, they are together. So your verb and your noun are always one and the same thing. So if I'm to say I'm leaving now, in isiZulu, I would say ngiyahamba, so I am leaving, and then the noun would be a different word. It would then be manje. So you're that qualifier, that direct object or adjective or adverb or any other figure of speech would be separate then, but a verb and a noun always go together because it is believed culturally, from cultural standpoint, because languages are always rooted to culture, that one is not separate from their actions. Hence, we have a verb noun conjugation. I do believe this also makes isiZulu and siSwati very easy to acquire in terms of the grammar. Maybe not so much pronunciation because we went through the clicks and y'all were like, what was that? But grammar-wise, it's a super, super simple language. If you understand that a verb and a noun always go together, then you separate anything else. Gender, pronouns, markers, and performance. So I love to boast about this when it comes down to my culture. We do not have gender pronouns at all. So everyone is referred to by the gender neutral, or rather, should I say genderless, because neutral would connotate that there would be some sort of opposition to begin with. Everyone is referred to by the genderless noun u. So he, she, his, hers boils down to u or eake. So if you were to say his or hers, you would say eake, which is also gender neutral. And you, he, she would be u. And then in terms of some level of markers for gender, we do have woman, man, boy, girl, king, queen, wife, husband. But if you consider that some of these, when they translate, if you were to translate, they don't necessarily translate the same as in English. Prime example being king and queen. King translates to lion, and then queen translates to elephant. So ingonyama is a lion, indlovukazi is a elephant, because the qualities that are ascribed to leadership are qualities taken from the animal kingdom, which are, we want a man to have that tenacity, that strength, a king, sorry. You would want him to have tenacity and strength and like a push, a drive, a sense of hunting, a inner will, a fierceness. And then indlovukazi and elephants, they're calm, but they can also be tipped off that quickly if need be. They can protect their own, which are the qualities that you would want from a queen. So it's a matter of gender performance rather than gender being. So now going back into the aspect of culture, in Zulu and Swati culture, what you are referred to is what you are. So what is important to us is one's name, one's clan names, one's surname, one's ethnic group, one's origin. You are referred to by that because that is who you are. But if I refer to you by your gender, I am saying that is who you are. And for us, in the unadulterated form of our culture, we perform our gender. It is not our inherent being. So I think prehistorically, prior to colonialism, it was perfectly acceptable for a man to be referred to by feminine qualities, or for a woman to be referred to by masculine qualities, because it's about what do you perform in society? What role do you take on? Then you ascribe masculinity or femininity, but the reference of a gender pronoun in itself directly clashes with the notions of what fits into our culture. Curse words. I thought I had to drop in something fun in there. So I'm gonna teach you guys some basic curse words. So fun fact, I'm Swati, I think I've said this before. We swear a lot, as do Zulu people, but it is commonly known. It is one of the markers of Swati people is that we curse a lot. We curse more in jest, to be honest. It is considered a taboo, both in Zulu and in Swati culture, to curse when you are upset, particularly if you're cursing at someone else. That is considered just wildly improprietous and indecorous. It's not something that you do. But if you're swearing in jest in everyday conversation or to emphasize a point, that's perfectly normal, that's fine, we do that. So I have a list of common phrases, what they loosely translate to, and then I'll tell you in what context you typically use them. So, odayiwe, which means you must be drunk, is something you say when someone says something that's just outlandish, you're just like, okay, that's crazy, odayiwe. Onyogolo, which means that or this must be your mother, or is that your mother? This is a funny one because, so you use it if perhaps you send someone to go and fetch something for you and they come back and they're like, oh, I can't find it. And then you go and you retrieve that thing and you'd be like, oh, onyogolo, like, what is that? Like, is that your mom? Because I know I sent you to go and get this and you didn't get it. So what is this? Is this your mom? The number of times I have been asked this. Okay, and then unyiwe is kaka, which means you were shat, or yeah, were you shat out by a tree? Which is to say, when one is rudderless, back to the point of culture, because we all have an origin. We come from somewhere. I come from my mother and my father, but furthermore, I come from the bloodline that I carry in my bones. So we all have an origin. We all have a root, a center, and a grounding. And when you seem rudderless or you're just like out of your mind, people would say like, like, why do you behave like that? Like you have no home training. And then umtituako, which means your ass, is something you say, I guess similar to English. It's like, it's our version of FU because we don't really have much of an FU. So what we have is like umtituako, like your ass, like stop playing with me, umtituako. And then ulengisamasende. So this is like you're airing out or hanging out your balls. This is what you say if someone is lazy or they're not being particularly helpful, they're not assisting, they're just chilling, doing nothing. You'd be like, ulengisamasende. This also is not something you would say just to a man. You could say this as well to a woman. All of these are phrases that you could say to women as well as men. And then uyanya is somewhat similar to umtituako or utagiwe. It means like you're shitting, you're taking a shit, like you're taking a piss at me right now. So someone's just saying something or they're doing something that's crazy and absolutely unacceptable. You just be like, uyanya, stop it. Please use these curse words very restrictively, but I mean, go ahead, have fun with them. Just be careful in the context in which you use it, because once again, we do this in jest and not so much in anger. Our poetic devices. So isiZulu and siSwati are very, very poetic languages. We tend to speak in proverbs and idioms and poetic devices. So we speak very much in an artistic form. So I have some examples of simile, metaphor, personification, alliteration, anaphora, and epiphora. These were like common poetic devices that are in English, which also exist in isiZulu and siSwati, because we also have our own different poetic devices. But if I were to go into a breakdown of those, this video would be like in volumes. It would be like volume 1, volume 2, volume 3. We're not going to do that today, but if you would like to learn, feel free to come to me and I'll let you know. So we have isifanyiso, isingathekiso, ukwenzisa umuntu, isifanamsindo, ukuxhuma nasiqalo, ukuxhuma nasigcino. An example of isifanyiso would be umuhle njengendoni yamanzi, which is you're as beautiful as pebbles in clear water. Metaphor, uyinkalakatha, you are strong, you are resilient. You say this to someone who can circumvent any obstacle that comes in their way. And then personification, amanzi angiheha, which is the water calls to me or calls to me, as well as ukufa akuloni, which direct translation is death does not get fat, which is to say that death does not have any discrimination. It takes anybody, even those that we deem to be undeserving or people that we think should live longer lives. Like death doesn't work like that. It just takes anybody. And then alliteration, that one defeated even me. So if y'all felt like, oh my gosh, these clicks are hard, don't worry. Sometimes they hit me as well. That means a frog croaks at the stream. So just a cute little example of traditional Zulu attire versus Swati attire, just so you can see. But yeah, we're one of the same culture, essentially. Thank you so much for joining me in a small little language lesson. I know I introduced you to a lot of things, but it was just some base things that I felt you could know that are fun and interesting, that I personally find very interesting and admirable about my own culture. So now, a small little exercise for you. Please don't hate me, guys. I know it's going to be difficult, but it's also going to be super, super, super duper fun and exciting. You are going to introduce yourself in isiZulu or siSwati, and you're going to choose one of the 6 examples here that I have for click sounds. So basically, I'm going to do it first so you can get an overview of what to do. You would say, Sawubona, Kamalam Litchfield-Tshabalala, Zalo Litchfield-Tshabalala, Sivele Swatini, Guamaluta na Wadwalile, Nizozama Ubusho Lesisho, and then I would say, so what you would do, Sawubona is hello, and then Ikamalani, my name is, you put your own name. I said Ma Litchfield and Tshabalala because those are my own parents. So you would put your own mother's last name, so Ma Antonelli, Baba Antonelli, whatever. And then Sivela, you say where you guys are from. And then the last one is Nizozama Lesisho, and then you take one of these sayings and you'll try and say them. So I'm quickly, initially I had a mind to say, I'm not going to say these for you. I want to hear, because I did teach you how to click before. So I was like, I want you to attempt these clicks yourself. but I will say it for you so that you can hear what it sounds like, and then you're going to attempt one of them. You can do as many as you want if you're bold. Who would I be? But so the first one is ixoxo liyaxokozela ixhaphosini. Second is igqirha lendlela ngonqonqothwane. The third is gegela gege ntombi ziyamgegela. Fourth, uqhama kwenkanyezi ukhanya kwelanga. 5, inhliziyo eyamkelayo inhliziyo emsulwa. 6, amacici akho awamahle ayaconsa. So amacici akho awamahle ayaconsa. I would tell you what these mean, but another part of the assignment is for you to try and figure out what it means. You don't necessarily have to know what it means, but if you would like to, go on Google, Zulu and siSwati are languages that are online, and feel free to know what one of these means, but pick one that is easiest for you and most exciting and attempt it, and send it through to my WhatsApp or email. Record yourself, send it through to my WhatsApp or email, and I will make a compilation of them and send it to you all and show it in class or something. Send it to my WhatsApp or my email, whichever one feels comfortable for you. Also, should you have any questions, please feel free to contact me, ask me via WhatsApp or via email, preferably via WhatsApp, please. Any questions that you have, ngiyabonga kakhulu, which means thank you very much for watching this presentation. I hope you learned something new, and I hope you like my languages, the languages of my culture and of my heart. And should you have any more questions that pertain to either Zulu or Swati culture, or language, or food, or anything, you know where to find me. Grazie, ngiyabonga, ciao.